So I feel like if the Houston Texans never score more than 21 points in a game, or if the offense fails to score a red zone touchdown before the week 6 bye, I feel like Nick Caley is just gonna say whoop de doo. Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuning to the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by Hall Family Estates. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Because, you know, we do everything for the gram. Welcome. Y'all get y'all thoughts together before we start this, because I got to get my TikTok family together. Y'all give me a second. What? What? Let's do it this way. Ooh-wee. Boy, this is some, I tell you right now, boy, this is some hot mess that's going on here. And I want to make sure that everybody was able to, no, let's not do that. I wanted to do this. There we go. I want to make sure that everybody got an opportunity to listen to everything that they need to listen to, get whatever they needed to get out as far as the Texans 17-10 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. What's up, TikTok family? Glad to have y'all in here. Let me hop into some of these comments right quick. This is going to be one of those shows where, hey, look, it's unorthodox. So that's how it's going to be. I'm going to be reading comments from both sides, from TikTok family and from the Twitter and YouTube family. What's up, DQ? What's up? They call me Mr. Nobody. Texas hold the number 1 pick in the next year's draft currently. Derek, what's going on? Time to open up the bar. Hey, JBJ, what's going on? Scotty Smalls, J Adams 93. Henry T continues to miss tackles. He wasn't the only one. J Adams 93, EJ, Black Eighth Element. If not for the blown coverage by Jacksonville, the Texans would have scored only 3 points today. Who was that? J Black? Dinish down. What's going on? We're getting the YouTube family involved as well. All right. Once again, tuned to the Texas Happy Hour. I'm your host, Big Sarge. We're gonna jump right into this thing, and I'm glad David. Hey, I ain't gonna even lie. David may not be the name you want to have right now, especially what's going on with that R&B singer. It's another story for another time. That's for the Buzz and Petty. What's up, Figgy Fig? So, David, and let's just jump right into this thing, because I'm glad you said that. David says, bring back Bobby. Now, look, I get it. I understand that, you know, Nick Caley is not doing the job that you all thought he was going to do. Now, he's doing exactly what I thought he was going to do, because I told you all, don't get yourself all excited. Y'all be listening to the wrong damn people sometimes. I'm just going to go out there and say, y'all be listening to the wrong damn people sometimes. And I told you, hey, calm down and stop sharing that bullshit with me. Wait, how long we been in this? 4 minutes and 53 seconds. Cool. They can't demonetize me now. Stop. I told y'all, hey man, y'all stop sharing that stuff with me. I don't care. I'm out there. I know what I see. And I've been around this game long enough as a fan and as a media member to know, hey, look, man, calm down. This dude ain't even done anything yet but coach a position. He's never been he's never been an offensive play caller. I told you, it's the first time. If they fire Caley, who will they hire? Hopefully Gerard Johnson to take over for the rest of the season. That's another story for another time. I told y'all that too. Told y'all that again. But I told you, you don't know what Nick Caley's going to do. And just because he's been associated with the Josh McDaniels when in New England, when it was the Patriots way, when we all know that the Patriots way was Tom Brady. It was Tom Brady. We know that was the Patriots way. Everything was about Tom Brady. Tom Brady made everything work. Tom Brady covered up a lot of problems that they had. But no, he's been around Josh McDaniels. Oh, let's not forget, he's been around Sean McVay. Facts. He has been around Sean McVay. He has been around two offensive minds. And I will say that Sean McVay is probably one of the smartest people I've seen in football across the board. That's like from Pop Warner level all the way through the NFL. So I wouldn't, be surprised if Caley doesn't, or now he has no choice but to start using more of that Los Angeles Rams system compared to using that antiquated New England Patriots system. And so I told you all, hey, calm down, slow down. He has not called one game in the NFL yet. In regular season, y'all stop. You don't know what you have until you see it put in action. Prime example. You know that the auto industry, right? The auto industry, when they'll put out brand new cars, expensive cars, and then you'll look up and it'll have a recall on it, right? You got a recall on it. I mean, you got to take it back if something ain't right with it. Hey, you got a recall, and now because everything is run by a computer, hey, you got to come in and do a software update. You got to come in and, we got to check the computer or whatever the case may be, right? Right. But when you go and you first bought that car, you never thought that in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks, you was going to have to take it in because of a recall. Hey, man, this is a brand new truck. It looks amazing. I love this truck. Like, it's a brand new truck. Ain't nothing wrong. Y'all telling me ain't nothing wrong with it, right? So if ain't nothing wrong with it, cool. I expect to get the truck, maybe have problems later on down the line, 5-6 years from now, maybe. But if I'm getting a notice that I have to take the truck back in 3 weeks, that wasn't something that I was just really expecting. It's a recall on it, right? And so that's how I feel that what's going on with the Houston Texans and a lot of Houston Texans fans that endorsed Nick Caley and said he was going to be a great offensive coordinator. And I was like, how would you know that though? How would you know? And now guess what you got? Now guess what it is? You got a recall. It's 3 weeks in and you got a recall on your new vehicle. And then you go back and you say, well, I should have just kept the old one. Why am I old guy? I shouldn't have went out and got a new vehicle. That old vehicle, it gave me some issues, but it was still fairly new. It was still good. I didn't really have to trade in my old car. Yes, you did. For you all that are calling for the Houston Texans to bring back, for you all that are saying that the Houston Texans should never got rid of Bobby Slowick, that's probably one of the most asinine takes I'd ever heard. And and that's being Molly. I'm just trying to work on myself and be a better Christian. I don't really want to cuss, but that's one of the worst takes that I've heard in a very long time. Because there's nothing that I've seen Bobby Slowick do in 2 seasons with the Houston Texans that would have fixed this offense in the first 3 weeks. I'm sorry. No, it's not. It's not. Like, that's good for barbershop talk. That's good for talk radio. That's good to put on your socials. But if we want to keep it a buck, if we want to keep it 100, Bobby Slowick wouldn't have been able to do nothing with this offense at all, period. The amount of points that they scored would have been the amount of points. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't just last year you all were complaining about the amount of points scored in the second half? So what Bobby Slowick is going to do in these first 3 games? Don't worry, I'll wait. I got time. Go ahead. I'm going to have a Coke and a smile. What would he have been able to do? What would Bobby would have been able to do with that offensive line that CJ Stroud has to play behind? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand where this is coming from that, hey, Bobby, what you doing now? And if we keeping it a buck, and don't get me wrong, you all know, I think that Bobby Slowick is a great person. But I think that Bobby Slowick is an amazing person. I wouldn't want to see Bobby be an offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans again until he got some more seasoning under his belt. Until he got some more experience under his belt. Bobby Slowick is not ready to be an offensive coordinator. It's probably going to take another year. Probably after 2 years of not being an offensive coordinator, then he comes back and then he'll be ready. He needs to take a step back and watch the game first and see how everything is run really on a day-to-day operation from an offensive coordinator standpoint, then come back and try to install plays and then come back and start putting then start trying to figure out game plans and come up with different concepts. But there ain't nothing that Nick Caley has done that Bobby Slowick would have done different. I don't know if we're watching the same Houston Texans team or not. I know it's Houston Texans team that I've watched the last 3 weeks. And the last 3 weeks that I've watched, there's nothing that Bobby Slowick would have done to help that Houston Texans offense score more points. Because if you believe that he could, then just go back to last season. Go back to the second half of a lot of those games. Matter of fact, let's just start with the Detroit Lions game. Start the Detroit Lions game and then go from there. Against that Rams defense, I don't know what Bobby could have done, especially with the offensive line protection. I don't know what Bobby Slowick could have done. I don't know what Bobby Slowick could have done against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Called it a little different. Could have gotten a win today. Bobby would have maybe done a little bit more, something a little bit different today than what Nick Caley did. But by the same token, no, there's no possible way. There's no possible way that you all could have it in your right mind that you think that getting rid of Bobby Slowick was the wrong thing to do. It was absolutely the right thing to do. Now, was hiring Nick Caley the best thing to do? I don't know. And I told you all that. I don't know. I don't know if you bring him in. I don't know if he is the right person for you to bring in to your organization and you say he's going to take you to the next step. Take you to the next level. I don't know if Nick Caley was the right person to bring in to try to continue developing a quarterback like CJ Stroud. I was on the Texans Cookout and that our post-game show, and that should be coming out here pretty soon with myself, Chancellor Johnson, DJ BNMA, and Jonathan Alexander. And we talked about CJ, right? We talked about CJ. And the point that I made that, that they disagree with, of course, they disagree with it. They didn't see it from my point of view, but I still stand 10 toes down on my point is this. When we're talking about CJ, because I'm going to get back to talking about Nick Caley and this offense. And I honestly and truly believe he said whoop-de-doo. I do believe that he said whoop-de-doo. But with that being said, and this is going to sound crazy, I'm going to give you the same exact take that I gave on there, and I'll clip it up once we get it. I said, they asked me, what is the percentage or either the percentage or how much blame do I put on the ineffectiveness of the Texans offense? And I said, I put 60% on Nick Caley. I put 60% on Nick Caley, Cole Popovich, the offensive line coach, and Ben McDaniels, who's the wide receivers coach, and passing game coordinator. All three of those I put 60% on, and I'll put 40% on CJ. And I said the reason why I put 40% on CJ is because CJ to me right now, and like over the second half of the season, especially throughout the first three games, he's reminding me a lot of Davis Mills. And what I mean by a lot like Davis Mills, I'm not talking about from a talent standpoint. I'm not talking about he reminds me of Davis Mills from a talent standpoint. Those of you all who have um, followed me since what Davis Mills, I don't even remember when Davis Mills got into the league. What, 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago? Well, anyway, for those of you all who have been following me, you've heard me say this take before. I don't think that Davis Mills is a bad quarterback. What I think is that Davis Mills overthinks and he gets in his head too much. Like I've seen Davis Mills literally just play football and he looks like okay, he could be something, not a top tier quarterback, but he probably could start for some teams in the NFL, like who has injury problem, like the Jets. He could probably field in for Justin Fields, or he may be able to fill in and for Jaden Daniels at the Washington Commanders, or maybe behind Justin Herbert. Like he's a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback, but he thinks too much. And I said his problem has always been he went to Stanford, so his mind is just like, I got to make the perfect play. I got to make the perfect throw. I can't make mistakes. And when he starts acting like that, that's when he makes the most mistakes because he starts to overthink things. What I've been seeing from CJ lately is he's not having fun anymore. He's not having fun anymore. He's not doing like he doesn't look like 2023 CJ Stroud. He looks like he's in his mind and in his head. That's why I said 40% because I feel like he's thinking too much and he wants to make the perfect play. He wants to, not mess up, not make any mistakes. And when he starts to do that, he's just not having fun anymore. Name the last time you've seen CJ Stroud look like 2023 CJ Stroud. He doesn't look like he's having fun. Even when he made the 50-yard pass to Nico Collins on Sunday, it was more of a relief for him than it was a celebration. It was more of a just like, oh, finally, instead of him enjoying that moment from a big play. It was almost like a burden had been lifted off of him when he made that big play compared to celebrating that Nico Collins had made that up and out move. I mean, out and up move to get himself wide open to beat the defensive back and for them to have an explosive. Watching Davis Mills, he stays in his head a lot. He overthinks a lot. He's very talented, I feel. Like Davis Mills, he can play when he's not thinking. And that's what's happening to me. That's what's happening to CJ now. And especially with the ineffectiveness of the offense, because he's thinking too much because he's like, I got to make the perfect play, or else we're going to be 3 and out. He's going to be 3 and out. And now it's like CJ's a team player. So CJ knows that CJ knows what? Somebody just put in my TikTok, get a New York Yankees new era hat at Liz today and go to Dunkin' Donuts today. Huh? Help Center, I'm confused. I digress. The Houston Texans need to make football fun again. Ooh, hold on. How you say that? Make football fun again. MFFA. Make football fun again. That's what they need to do for CJ Stroud. They need to get him a hat since y'all are so. Side note, god damn. We're going to get back to the Houston Texans in just a second. There's no possible way that y'all could be tripping over a hat. A hat. A fucking hat. It is a hat. A hat. Loyalty? No loyalty because of a hat? A hat. A hat. We went through this with the Mariners hat. We're buns again. We went through this with the Mariners hat. And now we're going through with the Yankees hat. A hat. A hat. Well, CJ needs to show loyalty to the fans. CJ needs to show loyalty to the Houston fans who support him. Y'all think every Texas fan is an Astros fan? Like I'm asking. Since we're talking about that, let's just like y'all think every Houston Texans fan is a Astros fan. Y'all know I know Houston Texans fans that are Seattle Mariners fans. You know how many Yankees fans I know that are Houston Texans fans? Red Sox, Cubs, Braves. You know how many? But it's different. CJ can't wear it, right? CJ can't wear any other type of hat, even though CJ isn't from Houston. See, y'all take y'all fandom and y'all think y'all hold y'all fandom in high regards and say, we are the people who support him. Well, I get it. But are you supporting him because he wears a hat, or are you supporting him because he's the quarterback of the football team you root for? What's up, KP? It's KP from the Peachy Boys Foundation. What's going on? Hey, Jalen got that interception today, man. That was amazing. That was good, man. Hey, they needed that at the right time. We need that. They needed that at the right time. So, what's going on, man? Big Star salute. But with that being said, a hat. I can see if CJ showed up to the game in like a Colts hat or a Jags hat or any other football team outside of the Houston Texans. If he showed up with any other football team outside of the Houston Texans, then I would think, hey man, a lot of y'all got a point. A lot of y'all have a point. But it's a goddamn hat. You take it off, you put it on. You take it off, you put it on. What are we talking about here? If your fandom depends on CJ's fashion, then I question your fandom. If your fandom depends on CJ's fashion, then are you really a fan? Because you're uptight over a hat. A hat. Why does CJ have to root for the Houston Astros? Because you do? Why does CJ have to root for the Houston Rockets? Because you do? Because I'm going to be honest with you. Let me tell you this right now. Go ahead and get mad at Kevin Durant right now. Because Kevin Durant is going to show up to a lot of games with probably a Washington Commanders hat on or a Washington Nationals hat on. And I feel like Kevin Durant is just as important to the Houston Rockets right now as CJ is to the Houston Texans. So what are you going to say about him? I had to get that off my chest. That a lot of you all are upset over a hat again. I'm not going to even lie. If I was CJ, I'd probably show up next time with like a Red Sox hat on, a A's hat, a Braves hat, a Milwaukee Brewers hat, a Los Angeles Dodgers hat, a San Francisco Giants hat. Like I would show up with every other hat except the Houston Astros, just so y'all can get yourselves. Some of y'all can get yourselves all up, get all up in a tizzy, as the old people would say. I digress. let me reset this show. We're going to be right back because there's some other things that transpired on there's some other things that transpired on Sunday that we need to get to, especially when it comes to this Houston Texans offense. And I will say this before we go to the break. One of my main points coming into this season, and I think this is when I was on that other show, so you might have to go to that other show and find it. But what I said was a lot of people don't realize is that the clock is ticking on DeMeco Ryans as well because he's a victim of his own success. And we'll talk about that when we come back from the break.
Hi, Laura Williams coming to you here from Easy Honda. Just want to remind you that this is my new home, and here at Easy Honda, we are here to take care of all your vehicle needs. From new vehicles to pre-owned vehicles, we've got what you are looking for. And if you're a business and you're looking for vehicles, we've got a great selection here at our dealership. For any information on getting your next vehicle here at Easy Honda, you can reach me at 281-224-3666. Remember to ask for Laura Williams. We make it easy here at Easy Honda.
Hey, welcome back. You tuned into the Texas Happy Hour sponsored by Hall Family Estates. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com for all your winery needs. All right. Before I went to the break, I said that earlier this year, when I was a guest host on the other show, well, co-host, felt like a guest host, but that's another story for another time. When I was a co-host on the other show, I said people don't realize that the clock is ticking on Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans. And at the time, the other host of the show looked at me like I was crazy and basically said, "What do you mean?" And I said, the clock is ticking because DeMeco, is a victim of his own success. He's a victim of his own success. Side note, that's not my team. My NFL team fandom is on hold. Remember that. Back to what I was saying. DeMeco Ryans is the reason why the clock is ticking on him is because he's going to be he's a victim of his own success right now. And what I mean by that is in year one, he accomplished things that team probably shouldn't have accomplished until this year, until year three. But he accomplished in the first 2 years what he should have been accomplishing in year three. For the Houston Texans to win the AFC South title, well, to win the game against the win or go home game against the Indianapolis Colts to end out the season, they won that game to make the playoffs in the rebuild, in the true rebuilding season, which was DeMeco Ryans' first season, CJ Stroud's first season, Will Anderson's first season, Tank Dell's first season. Like they won the AFC South, they won a wild card game, and then they went to the divisional round, had the Baltimore Ravens tied at 10 at the half, and then eventually lost that game. So then they followed that up, repeating the exact same thing. So now you can't just keep getting to the divisional round of the playoffs without advancing. And so that's why I said the clock is ticking, is because you've given the organization and the fans a taste of success. And because of that taste of success, they're going to want more. They're going to want more. They're going to want more. And so I don't think that the Houston Texans organization will be looking at DeMeco Ryans and saying, "Hey, they want to fire you." Even if this season ends up being tumultuous and they don't win nothing but, let's just say, 6 games, right? If they go 6-11 and they have a terrible season, that's not going to be enough to get DeMeco Ryans fired. But what it's going to do is it's going to set off the set off some of the hesitation alarms to, okay, so what happened? You were building this thing and on this trajectory to get to where you needed it to be, and now all of a sudden it's just stopped. Because what the Houston Texans coaches and players are saying right now, after being 0-3, what they're saying right now, those are the things that you should have been saying in year one about not being able to finish, about finishing the game, about being this close. We're this close to, to getting things right. Yeah, but you're 0-3. You're 0-3. You could have been 0-3 in 2023, and none of the alarms would have went off. Hell, you probably could have gotten away with being 0-3 in 2024 because people would have said that 2023 was an anomaly. Hey, all right, you came in, you did this, and you caught the league by surprise. In 2024, everybody caught up with you, but you didn't. You replicated that, and you were in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round, and then you lost, and then you come into year three, and now coming into year three, you're 0-3. You haven't won a game, and you can't say like the things that are being said about being close. You cannot say that in year three. You just can't. Like you can't say that with an 0-3 record. Even if you win against the Tennessee Titans, because somebody got to win. The Tennessee Titans are 0-3. The Houston Texans are 0-3. They play each other next Sunday. Somebody got to win. Somebody got to win. Or then again, hell, it could be a Lovie Smith tie. Who knows? That's neither here nor there. We'll get into the Tennessee Titans later on next week. Later on this week. But even if they win and they are 1-3, that's still not enough because now you got to turn right back around and play the Baltimore Ravens before you go into week 6, before you go into your bye week. So the Houston Texans could either be 1-4 or 0-5. Senior Boble says they could be 3-0 just as easy. They could. Senior Boble, I could have been a yellow bone, but see, that didn't happen, right? And I probably could have been a millionaire. See, that didn't happen either. So I get it. There could have been some breaks here or there, and they could have easily been 3-0. And if they were 3-0, we would be having a whole nother conversation. If they were 3-0, we would be having a whole nother conversation by saying the offense still stinks. The offense still needs to get going, but they're 3-0, and it's better to be working on it at 3-0 than to be working on it 0-3. And that's what they're doing right now. They're working on it at 0-3. Vegas runs the NFL. But with that being said, he's a victim of his own success. And so that's why he's going to be looked at differently. DeMeco Ryans is going to be looked at differently by the fans, especially because these fans, they want more. They want more. They want more. They want more. So with that being said, right? With that being said, they want more, but how much more can they get from Nick Caley? How much more can they get from Nick Caley? How much more can they get from Ben McDaniels? How much more can they get from Cole Popovich? Because that's where everything lies and entail. One of the greatest things that Bill Belichick was able to do when he was head coach of the New England Patriots was adjust. And when he was able to adjust, that also helped out Tom Brady be able to win. Tom Brady had the it factor. Bill Belichick had the adjustment factor. When are the Houston Texans going to have that adjustment factor? I know we're 3 games in. Sarge, we're only 3 games in, and we're talking about Nick Caley and this offense already. Yeah, because we could easily be 7 games in and still be talking about this. See, in order for there to be some optimism, in order for people to believe, you gotta show some signs that, hey, this is what we could do if we had Joe Mixon. This is what we could do if we had Tank Dell. But because we don't have them, let's just go ahead and see if we can make this thing happen like this. Name me your top 5 Houston Texans offensive plays of 2025. Don't worry, I'll wait. Go ahead. Take your time. I think I can name 2. The touchdown pass against Tampa Bay and the 2nd and 1 play where CJ faked the handoff, rolled out, got into an open lane and found Jaden Higgins for like 20-something plus yards. That's 2. I don't remember one from the Rams game. Those are the 2 that I remember from Tampa Bay. I don't want to say that the 50-yard touchdown pass to Nico Collins was Nico. That wasn't nobody else but Nico doing that. So you tell me, like, when are we gonna start seeing this? And then are you gonna wait until you play against the Tennessee Titans? Is that what you're doing? You wait until game 4 to break everything out? Because at this point, I don't see it. But I was also one of the ones saying I didn't see it throughout training camp. And I was also the one telling you that, excuse me, well, maybe, the installs is what's making this offense look like that. And just come to find out, it's the offense. So I feel like the Houston Texans have enough talent on that offensive side of the ball to be very creative. I think you got young players on that side of the ball to be very creative. I think that your creativity could also help alleviate some of the pressure that CJ Stroud is under. I think that it can help alleviate some of the pressure that CJ Stroud goes through from a poor offensive line. But you got to be creative. You got to be creative. Like a lot of you all, I don't know, some of you all may still play Madden, right? Some of you all may still play Madden. I don't know who does and who doesn't. I don't play Madden anymore. It's been a long time since I played Madden. But when I used to play Madden, we used to have these Madden tournaments at my partner house at Prairie View. And I had this one partner who he was really good at the game. His problem was he loved to blitz, right? He loved to blitz. He loved to bring pressure when he was on defense. And so I would bait him every time. Every time we play, like, it's like, I'm like, you're not catching on? All right. So, like, the first 2 to 3 offensive series that I had, I would let him blitz a little bit, let him sack my quarterback, or I see the blitz coming and I'll run into the player. I'll run into to the player that was blitzing or whatever. And all the while, that's just giving him more confidence, And it's really crazy because we probably played over 250 games against each other. And in those 250 games, I probably did this 250 times. I would let him think that his pressure was getting to me. And then all of a sudden, I run a play, get away from the pressure. And then here's my, oh, you just got away that time. All right. Then come again. I run another play. Boom, boom. So then by the second half, I'm running totally different plays because I've worked on this. I'm running totally different plays that he hasn't seen before or that he hasn't realized I've adjusted to your blitz. And so now my creativity is destroying your blitz because when you're bringing this amount of pressure on me, all I'm doing is making sure that my quarterback has enough time to hit the person that I need to hit. I don't need to make a big play every time. I just need to make the play. And then eventually, guess what happens? Now you got to back up off the pressure. Now, when you back up off the pressure, I'm going to start doing what I originally want, what I've always wanted to do anyway, and run my type of offense. So I had a blitz package offense and I had a regular offense. Those are called adjustments. And so that would happen. That would happen. That would happen. But I had to get him thinking one way in order for me to do another. When is the last time you seen the Houston Texans offense be creative? This damn show ain't the Sean McVay offensive system. This looks more like the New England Patriots system. It doesn't look like the Sean McVay system. Because I just watched Sean McVay in week 1 against the Houston Texans. And when I'm watching him, I've never seen anybody run a wide receiver between a tackle and a guard. First time I've ever seen that in my life. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. Did he just run Puka Nacua? Did he just run Puka Nacua through the offensive tackle and the offensive guard, brought him right through that hole and got him open to seal the game? I said, oh shit, well, it is Sean McVay. Nick Caley don't have that, or what is he waiting to show it for? Your team is now 0-3. Now what are you going to do? And like I said, the 40% that I talked about earlier, that's on CJ. And the reason why it is on CJ is because I understand you got hit a lot last season. Your second season, you got hit a lot. This is your third season. You're playing 3 games into your third season. Yes, some people don't want to believe it. I'll say it. CJ is seeing ghosts. He's seeing ghosts. And that's something that the Houston Texans are going to have to do. That's something that the Houston Texans are going to have to do to reinstill that confidence that he can stand in the pocket. Because sometimes he's standing in the pocket. Sometimes he's standing in the pocket and he has the time and he's still rushing himself like he's hearing ghosts. I don't understand for the life of me what happened on that Christian Kirk interception. I've never seen CJ get fooled like that. Like I haven't seen him. And in 2023, that wouldn't happen. And maybe that's the one thing. Maybe that's the one thing that needs to. Maybe that's the one thing that a lot of people need to move away from. Maybe we need to start looking at 2025 CJ Stroud and stop looking at 2023, or stop wondering where 2023 CJ Stroud is and see how can he build on 2025. Maybe that's it. Maybe we got to push out that he was the Texans look like dog shit. You got to push out 2023 and say, all right, CJ, let's see what you're going to be. Let's see the CJ Stroud of 2025. And in order to do that, he's going to have to, everything is going to have to work together in unison. And it's great to say it at a podium. It's great to say it on a podcast. It's great to say it in an interview. But if your words and your actions don't match, now you leave it up to us to do exactly what CJ said on Sunday after the game. He said, now people are going to be saying this and saying that about us. And yes, CJ, we are. Because we can only, I can only speak for me. I can only talk about what I see. I can only talk about what I observe. I can only talk about what's going on from my perspective. I don't have all the access to behind the scenes stuff that you all are doing. And even when I do get the access, that ain't for me to talk about. Because if it's off the record, it's off the record. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. And do I know that there are some issues and some problems going on in the Houston Texans organization right now, as far as the players and coaches are concerned? Yes, I do. I know exactly what they are. But I'm not going to talk about them because I was told off the record. And there's no way I will stop covering the Houston Texans, the Houston Texans, Houston Rockets, I will walk away from this side of the media if I ever have to give up a source, or if I ever have to speak on something that's off the record, and bring it to on the record and say exactly where I got my information from. Never going to do that. So, with that being said, right? With that being said, DeMeco and Nick Caley, they have to get on the same page. Because sometimes I feel like Nick Caley is conservative because DeMeco is conservative. DeMeco wants to control the ball. DeMeco wants to hold the ball. DeMeco wants to hold to keep the time of possession. And if that means getting into the red zone and stalling, as long as they can get a field goal out of it, a field goal attempt, he may go for it every now and then. But as long as they can get some points out of it, he's good. I think that what the Houston Texans are going to have to do, especially from the offense side of the ball, is scrap everything and say, all right, this is our new mindset. And you got to come in attacking. You've got to come in attacking. When's the last time you've seen the Houston Texans start out a game attacking? I know you want to run the ball, but we're in a passing league. And so in order to give the defense a sense of you're going to do something new, I'll put it like this. Last season, and I think that I told you all this. Last season, I was talking to, oh my goodness, who was it? Was it a player from the Baltimore Ravens? No. I can't think of who it was. It was a home game. God dang it, Sarge. Think about it. Anyway, it was a home game. And when I was talking to one of the players that I knew on that side of on the opposing team, he said, Sarge, he said, I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I'm gonna tell you the truth. He said, I know you didn't ask me this, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I'm gonna tell you anyway. He said, the Houston Texans offense didn't do nothing that we weren't prepared for. As a matter of fact, I think that we were over prepared for the Houston Texans. I said, wait a minute, hold on, time out. What? He said, yeah. He said, we prepared, we over prepared for the Texans. And because they play so basic and so simple, we didn't really have to make no adjustments. He said we weren't doing a lot of alerts and checks and doing different things. At one point, we went to our basic defense, and we ran our basic defense against them because we know that there was nothing that they could do. We thought that they were going to do one thing, they ended up doing another. And what I mean by another is they over prepared for them, and then they just stuck to the basics. And I'm starting to feel like that same thing is happening right now. That same thing is happening with the Houston Texans offense right now. Is that a lot of these teams have gotten the blueprint on the Houston Texans. And even though they changed the offensive coordinator, you can change the offensive coordinator, but if you still got the same basic protection and you can't protect your franchise quarterback, then you're going to be caught in these situations that you are now. Like there hasn't like, and you don't even have the feel that they're going to have an offensive breakout. 9 points, 20 points, and 10 points. What's that? 39 points, right? 20 and 10. Yeah. Divided by 3. They're averaging 13 points a game. With Nico Collins and with CJ Stroud. Bump not having Joe Mixon right now. Bump not having Joe Mixon. Bump not having Tank Dell. No, just push that to the side. There's no possible way that you can be. Y'all give me a second. Sit my ass up. Okay. What time is it? 9:03. Y'all give me a second. Let me get myself together. because it's time to turn this shit up. It's time to turn this shit up. Hand over heart. It's absolutely fucking atrocious that the Houston Texans fans have to watch an offense score 13 points a game. That's terrible. That's terrible that the Houston Texans fans root for a team that can only muster up 13 points a game. Any other time, hold on. Let's see. How many points have the Texans defense has only given up what? 55 points this season? 17, 37. What was the final score? Y'all give me a second. I don't remember the final score of the first game. Let me see. What was the final score of the first game? What was the final score? Let's see. So they gave up. Okay, thank you. 9. So the defense gave up 17 points today, 20 points, and 14 points. Right? 2, 3, 4. Yep. So yes. So 17, 20, and 14. You're telling me that 2, 3, 4, 5, 51 divided by 3 is 1, which is what I thought. Your defense is only giving up 17 points a game. 17 points a game. And the best you could do is give them 13 points. That's the best you could do. 13 fucking points. That's horrible. That's terrible. And your fans deserve better. The people who root for you deserve better. I could see if you were in a tanking season. I could see if you didn't have the offensive weapons to be able to score more than 13 points. But 13 freaking points is all you're able to muster up. And you wonder why you're 0-3. You can't keep coming and saying we're almost there. We're this close. You can't keep coming and using the same talking points when people are watching. You can say everything about how close you are, what you all need to do to turn the corner, whatever the case may be. That's cool. But when your actions and your words don't match up, then you wonder why the criticism comes, and then you get mad about the criticism. Look, I'm here to tell the truth. I've told you all this from the jump. I ain't got when I'm working, I'm not a fan of any team. I'm not. And when the Cowboys traded Michael Parsons, what I tell you, hey, my fandom is on hold. I ain't rooting for no NFL team like I did when I was rooting for the Cowboys for 49 years. No. But I've always told it like a TI is. And what a TI is that this offense is atrocious. And I know that DeMeco Ryans does not like to do things abruptly. I know he doesn't do things for shock value. I know that last season he wanted to get rid of Chris Strausser. I know that he had much love for Bobby Slowick, and he wanted to get rid of him when the offense was stale, but he would not do it because he did not want to bring a distraction to the players or to the team or to the organization. But damn it, if you go into the bye week 1-6, something has to change. Something has to change. Because if not, the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? Doing the same bad or terrible thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Right now, the Texans offense is batshit crazy. It's just what it is. It's crazy. It's insane. Because for the first 3 weeks, you've come out there and you've done the exact same thing and you've gotten the exact same results. Listen, I understand. Hey, we've been in the games in the fourth quarter. Yeah, because your defense is keeping you in it. But how many times are you going to keep rolling your defense onto the field, expecting them to make plays for you, and it ain't being reciprocal? It's not reciprocal. And then you want to talk about the missed tackles, or you want to talk about the busted coverages, or whatever the case may be. Cool. The missed tackles, I got that. And to be honest with you, I watched a bunch of missed tackles throughout the entire day today when I was watching the red zone, watching the Texans on my laptop and watching the red zone on the big TV. And there is a tackling issue throughout the entire NFL. I want you all to know that. I want you to know that it just isn't the Houston Texans defense that's having trouble tackling. And I know you're not worried about any other team because every other team ain't your team. Hey, y'all, hold on for a second. I just want to give somebody something to be pissed off about because I changed hats. I know that the Houston Texans is just your team, right? I know that the Houston Texans are your team. So you're not worried about if who else is able to tackle. Don't get me wrong. I understand that point. But I just want you to know that some way, somehow, I don't know when it happened. And maybe, you know what? I do know when it happened. When they stop allowing them to tackle in practice. I think now they're only able to tackle like once a week. And so if you're not practicing tackling like that, then you're not doing like, because they're only in pads, what, once, twice a week? Once. I think Thursdays. But when you're only in pads once a week and you're not hitting and everything is run and bump or whatever the case may be, then you get used to doing that. But you also got to look at it as like, when is the defense going to get an opportunity to just rest? When is the defense going to get an opportunity to just sit there and say, okay, hey, like, damn, the offense to put together a damn good drive? Because when it happens, then it's very far and few between. So that offense has to get something done. And if it doesn't, hey, look, y'all don't have time. There's no possible way that another offensive coordinator is going to be able to come in here in another 2 years and the Houston Texans organization be fine with that. Because now you're just spinning your wheels. And now you're just getting complacent by doing what? Going to the divisional round. So that's crazy to me. DeMeco is going to definitely have to shake some stuff up. And he's going to have to make a statement here some way, somehow. Not only to his coaches, but to the players too. Because one of the things that's hurting the Houston Texans is penalties. And if you got to keep talking about penalties every week, penalties are from undisciplined play. So what is the discipline process of having multiple penalties or having penalties at the wrong time? Or like, look, don't get me wrong. Ariante Ursery, y'all know that I'm a huge fan and believer of Ariante Ursery, but he's a rookie and he got the rookie treatment today against the on Sunday. He got the rookie treatment against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He got the rookie treatment, and Allen did exactly what he was supposed to do. That's exactly. If Allen didn't do that to a rookie, I'm saying to myself, there, you got to question Allen. But by the same token, nothing that Ariante Ursery has been taught from the time he's been playing football to now, nothing in his techniques or anything that he's been taught to grab a face mask, to get a face mask penalty. to get a face mask penalty. Nothing that Titus Howard has been taught, because somebody just said, and they're right. JBJ just right. Hey, Titus had a few penalties too. And so these penalties are results from undisciplined play. So now what are you doing in order to clean up the penalties? Like, I understand what you tell us every week, but something has to happen. Look, I know that, you know, there's a fine line in being, you know, the coach. You know, there's a fine line that you got to walk to make sure that everybody's on board, but also be the coach that you need to be. And for DeMeco, I feel like he's gonna have to ruffle some of the feathers that some people are not gonna be happy with, some people are not gonna like. But I feel like that's what this team needs. This team isn't a bad team. This team doesn't lack talent. This team has talent. What this team lacks is a full direction of where they need to go. And that's starting with from the top all the way down. Because what CJ has to play, under the adversity that CJ has to play with, I'm saying to myself, like, nobody is going to thrive off of that. Well, that's one of the reasons why Joe Burrow keeps getting hurt. That's one of the reasons why Joe Burrow gets hurt. He's playing behind a terrible offensive line, and your third-year quarterback should not be playing behind such a terrible offensive line. Now, do I think that there will be a shakeup? I doubt it. Should there be a shakeup? Depending on what it looks like after week 8. Because then you have to go back and you think, hey, was Nick Caley a favor to Nick Caserio because, you know, he knows him and, you know, he's known him since he was with the Patriots? And did DeMeco say, okay, you know, I'll go with this? Or was it something that Nick Caley done or said outside of being a football guy that says that he says, okay, I'm going to, because and the reason why I'm about to say, listen to what I'm about to say. If you got a Ferrari in your garage, right? If you got a Ferrari in your garage and you know what that Ferrari can do, you know how that Ferrari operates, you know how that Ferrari can move everything, the specs, everything about it. You just not finna get the keys to everybody to drive your Ferrari or your let's say Lamborghini. You're not finna give just everybody the keys to drive your Lamborghini. Like, your Lamborghini is like, you're like, yo, bro, look, everybody can't drive that. Everybody can't drive that car. Like, that ain't no Prius. You know, that ain't no Kia. And these ain't no shots at these other cars, but like, that's not them. That's not even a Mercedes. That's not a BMW. That is a Lamborghini, bro. And if I give you the keys and I let you drive this, you can't bring it back to me broken. You know what the maintenance is on just to keep that thing up? Or do you know how expensive it is to get it fixed if you break it? So when they took the keys to the Lamborghini from Bobby, they had to have full trust that Nick Caley could drive the Lamborghini. And what the Lamborghini is CJ Stroud. The Lamborghini is CJ Stroud. Can you drive that Lamborghini? If you can't, if it's too much horsepower for you, if it's too much car for you, then say that. But don't fake the funk. And then we give it to you. We give you the keys. And the first time you take it out, you break it. Because in 3 weeks, I have not seen Nick Caley fully operate the Lamborghini. And like I said, the Lamborghini is CJ Stroud. I have not seen him get the full effect of driving a Lamborghini. If anything, I don't even know if he could drive a stick shift. Can he even give it out? He can't even get it out the garage. I ain't seen the I haven't seen the Lamborghini be pulled out of the garage. So we're gonna see. Do I have anything? Got some positives. I thought that interception by Jalen Petrie was a very good play. A lot of people don't give Petrie his just due when he makes a good play. You always want to harp on when he makes bad plays. You want to harp on, the fact that he didn't make a good play against the Rams at the end of the game. But on today, he put his team in position to be able to win with that big interception. And then on the next play, they got a 50-yard touchdown pass from CJ to Nico. And so this offense is like driving like a 93 Geo Metro. That's hilarious. Let's see. Do I have anything else? Nope. I already said DeMeco has to put his foot down and shake some shit up. He does. We talked about Ben McDaniels. Um, yeah. Other than that, one more thing. So in the last 27 years, right? Well, since 1981, there's only been 6 teams to come back from 0-3 and 0-3 and make the playoffs. It's only been 6 teams. But since 2018, there's only been 1 team to go 0-3 and come back. And we all know who that was, right? We all know that one team was that 2018 I don't even know what's going on over there. Was that 2018 Houston Texans team that started out 0-3 and then they won 9 games in a row and didn't lose till week 14 against the Indianapolis Colts. But they ended up going 11-5 that season and going 11-5, winning the AFC South title. But I think they lost in their first round to the Colts, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and look. But my question is, do you believe that this 2025 team can be the 2018 team and run off that amount of run off that amount of wins, especially with that schedule? Especially with that schedule, do you think that they can run? Because they got a hard schedule. They do not have an easy schedule. They do not. Like I say, they still got the Ravens to play. They still got the Bills to play. And the way that the Colts have been looking, they're 3-0. Like they still got to play them twice. I mean, I don't know if they can rattle off 9 in a row, but do you believe that they have enough to make the playoffs? Like they don't even have to win the division. They don't even have to win the AFC South. Do you think that they can muster up enough offense for the rest of the season in order to put together some wins and get themselves into a wild card game? Bill O'Brien say what you want. Knew how to coordinate an offense. Ryans is a defense coordinator, so nah, they ain't coming back. So, do you believe that? That's one of the things that we're going to have to ask as we go forward. We have an opportunity to speak with DeMeco Ryans on Monday. There's going to be an open locker room first. I don't expect a lot of the players to be in there because on Mondays they mostly in there getting treatment and watching film and just trying to recover from the day before and then get themselves ready for the next game. There'll be some that'll trickle in and out. There'll be some that'll talk to us. But we also have an opportunity to talk to DeMeco Ryans, and I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how that's gonna go. I don't know who's gonna ask him what. All I know is I'm prepared to ask the questions that I need to ask. I mean that I need to ask. And whether or not I get the answers to them, that's cool. I don't, but I have to ask. I have to ask. So don't go anywhere. Just stay right where you are. Let me do this. I got some housekeeping I got to do, but y'all just stay right where you are. All right. Stay right there. Don't move. Do not move. Stay right there. Got some housekeeping that I need to do. All right. Here we go. You've been tuned into the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com for all your winery needs. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you're reading all my articles on www.bigsargemedia.com. I'm out. That was Big Sarge. All right. Hold on. I got to write that down. 1, 10, 11, end of show. Okay. Let me go ahead. Hey, y'all give me a second. I got some things I need to change right quick. That's right. I'm back. No more Nick asks. How you do max protect and still get pressured and sacked? How you bring 3 people? How you bring only 3 people and still get enough pressure? How you have 3 people to block 1 person and you still all right. Buy us drinks. All right, so look, because there's a lot of comments going on TikTok and there's a lot of comments going on Twitter and YouTube about something that I addressed earlier, but I'm gonna get back to it because, and y'all give me a second, I'm gonna find it because I want to read it out loud. Hold on. Y'all give me a second. Because I seen it. Hold on. Dang it, where is it? Here we go. Right here. Okay, let me see if he said anything. Here we go. No, Texas Astros say, no, F that. Yankees are one of the Houston's most hated baseball team, and CJ knows it. He ain't even from New York. What does that have to do with anything, Texas Astro? I mean, I'm done with the show. When I go back and edit it, this won't even be on it. So I can go ahead and say it. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. It is like the dumbest shit I've heard. A fucking hat. I talked about this earlier. A hat. Look. You know what I feel like? I feel like Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice. Practice. We ain't even talking about the game. We're talking about practice. Practice. We're not talking about the way CJ Stroud played on Sunday. We're worried about what the fuck he had on his head. This shit sounds stupid. No, CJ has to be loyal to the Astros because I'm loyal to the Astros. And because I'm loyal to the Astros and I support the Houston Texans, then CJ, as the Houston Texans quarterback, has to support the Astros. No, he does not. No, he don't. He does not. He don't. It's a hat. And it ain't even he not even wearing another NFL team. If he wore another NFL team, I could see what some of y'all would be upset. I'd be like, hey man, that's kind of out of line to wear a hat of another NFL team, knowing that you play in the NFL. That's the equivalent to like one of the Rockets players showing up with an NBA jersey on of another team that's in the NBA, another player of the NBA. I could see that. We're talking about hats that are fashion. And y'all got a fucking problem? It sounds dumb. When the Cowboys and Texans play, who do you root for? Nobody. I've been covering this team since 2017, and everybody knows when I'm doing my job, I don't root for nobody. I've sat in Texas Stadium, AT&T Stadium, as the Texans and the Cowboys have played, and I ain't root for nobody. I did my job. Ask anybody, they'll tell you. I don't root for nobody. I don't root for anybody when I'm doing my job. I don't have a team, because if I've got a team, then that means I'm giving you I'm giving you a biased report, and I want to be as unbiased as I can. I digress. Let me get back to this goddamn hat that sounds like the dumbest shit to me. A hat. A hat. A hat. But I get it, because some of y'all get triggered over the MAGA hats. I get it. I don't do politics like that no more. That was like 4 years ago, 3, 4 years ago, maybe 5 now. It's been a minute since I've done politics. But if I see somebody with a Make America Great hat on again, that just don't bother me. I don't care. It's your hat. I don't care what you're wearing. How does that affect me? It does not. I'm cool. It's like, hey man, I love Nikes. If I see somebody with Adidas on them, I don't get mad. I wear Nikes. If I see a player that I like in the NFL wearing Adidas, am I gonna get mad? No. So why y'all getting mad over a hat? Over a hat. Y'all think if he wears an Astros hat, that's gonna magically make them better? Like if he'd came to the game today in the Astros hat, y'all think the Astros would have won? What was it? You know what? Let me hide this. Let me go see what the score. What was the final score of the Astros game today? Let me see. Major League Baseball scores. No. What was the final score? The Astros. Hold on. Why is it taking so? There we go. The Astros lost 7-3. And they got swept, right? They got swept by the Mariners. I guess that's CJ fault because he wore a Yankees hat. If he wore Astros hat, they wouldn't have got swept this weekend, right? Because that's what the hat means, right? That's what it means. But it doesn't matter to you, which is shocking because he is the highest profile athlete in this city. That ain't I don't that what does that mean? Like a hat has nothing to do with the way that he plays. Like it's just a hat. And a lot of times, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Y'all can't force these players who were drafted to a city. You can't force players to have loyalty to other teams if they didn't grow up rooting for these teams. A lot of people is upset with CJ because they saying now that you're in the city of Houston, you got to root for the Astros, you got to be loyal to the Astros, or you got to be loyal to the Rockets. Just because he wears a hat doesn't mean he doesn't support Jose Altuve. Just because he doesn't wear a Rockets hat because he's a Lakers fan doesn't mean that he doesn't support Amen Thompson or Fred VanVleet or Kevin Durant or Jabari Smith Jr. Just because he has on a Yankees hat don't mean he hates Carlos Correa. Like, what does that even mean? Just because he didn't wear the hat? And plus, like I said, these CJ is what, 23, 24 years old? Hold on. CJ Stroud is 23 years old. He's only been in the city of Houston for 3 years. 2023, 2024, and 2025. So if he's only ever lived in Houston for 3 years, who was he rooting for growing up as a child? any sense to me. If that's not his team, you can't force him to root for these teams if it's not his team. But that ain't even got nothing to do with nothing. If he wants to wear a hat that fits his outfit and his unit, then let him wear that hat that fits his outfit or his unit. Because he's going to take that off and put on a uniform. And once he puts the uniform on, that's when you worry about CJ Stroud. You don't worry about CJ Stroud because he has on a Mariners cap or a Yankees cap. You can't wear a Mariners cap because they're in our division. Who gives a flying fuck? Nobody. If he wears a Brewers hat to NRG next week, does that mean he hates Jose Altuve? Does that mean he doesn't? Let me tell you something. Last season, I seen Jeremy Pena coming through the bottom of NRG Stadium. Him and his girlfriend. This was after the game. I forgot which game it was, but whichever it was, the Texans won. He was waiting. I'm sorry. He was coming as we were waiting to get into the locker room. And as we were waiting, when CJ came out, he seen Jeremy. Him and Jeremy went up and they started laughing, joking, talking, or whatever the case may be. Then CJ left because CJ had to get down to the press conference. Do you think that if I ask Jeremy Pena if he thinks that CJ Stroud doesn't support the Astros or is not a supporter of the players of the Astros because he wore a Yankees hat, you think he gonna tell me, yeah, man, I don't fuck with CJ like that because he had on a Mariners hat? Nah, man, I don't fuck with CJ because he had on a Yankees hat. I guarantee you what he's gonna say is he does not care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. CJ doesn't get. Let me ask a question. Because this is where it gets good. See, this is where it gets good and gooder. This is where it gets good and gooder. Because I've had the opportunity to cover at one time the Astros, the Rockets, and the Texans. Right? Right. Y'all think that every Houston Astros player that I covered always wore a Houston Texans hat? I can name you. So it says, what other high profile athlete in H-Town goes to a press conference in non-team gear? What does that matter? I don't know. But what I will say is this. I can name you one of the most high profile Houston Astros players right now that probably has at least 3 Detroit Lions hats in his locker in the clubhouse right now. At least 3. At least 3. Yeah. I can name you someone high profile that used to play for the Astros that had. It ain't worth the sarge. Hey, look, thank you, Ray. Ray Hearn said, bro, you wasting your time on some of these dumbass fans, bro. Half of them wouldn't know sports if it wasn't for PlayStation or Xbox. Tay say this sounds like a bunch of hoe shit complaining about a grown man wearing a hat. In the famous words of the Black Negro poets Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, wake up, everybody. Grown man worried about what another grown man wearing is weird. Yeah, Shirley Temple with bourbon. Truth Over Facts. What's going on, man? Welcome to the show. Sarge, DeMeco should let Burt call the defensive plays and call the offense. You can't tell me a great defensive mind can't do better than Nick. Slowick made the transition. DeMeco can too. I don't know. I don't know. That's the main reason I asked him last week about how much does he get involved in the offense. Because at some point, because DeMeco hears everything too, right? He may not be, big on social media, but he hears, sees, and reads everything. So at some point, he knows that continuously asking about the offense is one of those things where you're saying to yourself, all right, man, I'm getting tired of being asked these same questions about the offense and the offensive line, the offense and the offensive line. So yeah, he hears it too. Go back up to some more. Okay. Hold on, Dre. D to the R to the E. What's up, my guy? I'm trying to get to where I'm trying to get to what to where you said. QB1 Chris, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. Do you think Nick should be fired this week? No, I don't. I don't. I don't think that Nick should be fired this week. What I do think is that he needs to have a come to Jesus meeting. And I know it's weird because it's only after week 3. It's week 3, and we're like, should he have a come to Jesus meeting? Yes. Yes, he should. It's 3 weeks. Let me see. What's up, Roz NFL? I look on the bench and don't see anybody with the offensive talent as a coordinator as Bill O'Brien. So yeah, I believe I believe it's like I believe in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. All right. User 805890. Hey, I don't know what. Hey, when I ain't gonna even lie to you. And this is somebody on the TikTok feed. User 8508. Man, look, every time I see it, I just keep going. 8675309. 8675. Y'all don't remember that song? I'm old, ain't I? I'm old. He says, CJ looks scared. I think he's hearing a lot of I think he's seeing a lot of ghosts. I think he's jittery in that pocket. They got to find some way to keep him not jittery in that pocket. Hey JBJ, you say what a person driving right now must be drunk driving a Lamborghini? Hold on. What did Sarah say? Did I miss Sarah? I felt like the players like Nick Caley. Oh, they love Nick Caley. Nick Caley's a football guy. Like, yes, Sarah. Nick Caley is a football guy. Hey, Sarah, are you still here? Because I got something I want to say to you. Something happened to him at those all-white parties. That's why he's scared. Oh, that's hilarious. So I said something happened to CJ at them all-white parties. That's why he's scared. Last 3 press, CJ hasn't thanked God as he usually does. I think something going on with him. You're not the first person to say that, Coyote Kojo. Somebody else said that last week. Let me see if I can find. Man, I went to this game and that O-line ain't doing their job. Facts. The Titans and Texans could both be picking in the top 5 of the 2026 draft. Hey, so I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what the Texans draft picks look like. And somebody dropped it in the chat. Somebody tell me what the Houston Texans 2026 draft picks look like right now. Because with all the trading and the maneuvering this and other, I don't know how many draft picks they got. Do they still have their first round draft pick? That's what I gotta see. I gotta see. Talking about, yeah, you school, so old school, you're right. Under who? Even Kelly was a good offensive coordinator. You're talking about Tim Kelly under David Culley? You think Pep Hamilton would have been able to do something with CJ? I wonder if Pep Hamilton would have been able to do something with CJ. Caley was a Casario hire, and that's what I keep saying. I'm like, I just feel like they bargained. Like, I feel like Caley probably won over DeMeco, but it just feels like it was one of those bargaining things because he came from New England. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. So there was two people. We got one first round pick next year, and it's our own pick. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Positivity. I just look at it like this, y'all. When I look, so there were two people that I thought that should have been in high consideration for the Houston Texans offensive coordinator job. That was Gerard Johnson, and because of his familiarity with CJ, and if you're going to go with a first year offensive play caller, again, why not give him the opportunity since he already knows how to work with CJ, right? And I think somebody said earlier is that, well, why would you let Gerard Johnson be the offensive coordinator when he is struggling to develop CJ as a quarterback right now? And if you really want to break this thing down and get to the minutia of it, it isn't that he's not developing CJ. He has to do it in the construct of whatever Nick Caley wants done. That's the thing. He has to do it in the construct of whatever Nick Caley wants done in his offense. He can't go against Nick Caley's offense. He has to help CJ to develop as a quarterback. And all he's doing, like, he's teaching him, what he needs to do, but everything else comes from the offensive coordinator. So he's teaching them strictly from a position standpoint. But if he was able to teach it from a position standpoint and an offensive coordinator standpoint, that'd have been one thing. So it was Gerard Johnson, and it was the head coach of Syracuse. What's his name? Fran Brown. Can somebody tell me what's the head coach's name what's the head coach's name from Syracuse? Because I think that he was in the running, and I said, I really like that guy. I really do. It is Fran Brown. Thanks, Mr. Positivity. Yeah, I really like Fran Brown, and I think that he could have came in and had some creativity. And look, I'm not ready to just say give up on Nick Caley right now because he can totally turn it around. I tell you all the time, look, hey man, sometimes some people are late bloomers. Sometimes it takes a little bit for people to get going. Maybe it's Nick Caley and some of these defensive coordinators are taking advantage of him. And rightfully so, they should. As a first year offensive coordinator, and let me tell y'all something. When I told y'all this story before, I'll tell it to you again. My late wife's sons, her two boys, I did not take it easy on. Now, I didn't try to destroy them at every time, but like I didn't let them win, if you know what I mean by that. If we're doing something that requires competition, I made them work. I didn't let them win. Hey, you got to work. We're not just going to play PlayStation and I'm going to let you win because I like your mama. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. And I'm too competitive for that. And I'm teaching you about competition, because if I let you win, then you're going to think that things are supposed to be given to you. And I can tell you from experience and speaking to you all right now from the position in which I am, I ain't nothing been given to me. I have worked hard for this. I've worked hard for everything that has been afforded to me and I've been blessed with from God. I work though. So I said to teach them, hey, you got to work. Ain't nothing given. And so, it may he may be a late bloomer. Some people are. Like, that's another thing that we have to look at. Some people are late bloomers, and given the opportunity and given a chance, it may take them a second, but then it could. Prime example. I mean, we look at Tom Brady, somebody that Caley was around. Like, you look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady was a late bloomer. Yes, he was real. He was good in Michigan, but like, he wasn't that good to be drafted high, and he still had to wait to get his opportunity and his chance. And if we're keeping it a buck, if we keeping it a buck, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I may have told this story before. If I haven't, I'll tell it right now. And for those of y'all who've heard it, then just you can hear it and keep it going. When Tom Brady got his chance to be the quarterback for the New England Patriots, that chance was actually supposed to go to Michael Bishop. But there was a lot of things in play, a lot of factors. And hindsight is 2020 because we know now, hey, look, we know now Tom Brady, all he needed was a chance, give him the opportunity. Look at what he did. Right? And we give him the GOAT, which he is. He is the GOAT. But if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a period of time where the New England Patriots didn't make the playoffs? Didn't make the Super Bowl or something like that? I got to go back and look before I go down that rabbit hole. But he was given his chance and he took that opportunity. That chance was actually supposed to go to Michael Bishop. Maybe I'll talk about that on Patreon. But that chance was supposed to go to Michael Bishop. And for as much as y'all love Robert Kraft because he can Dougie and he hangs out with rappers, don't get it twisted. There's an underlying element that Robert Kraft doesn't want you to see. And when it was Michael Bishop's turn, we'll talk about that at another time. We'll talk about that at another time. Did you see DeMeco yell at Nick Caley today? Never. I didn't see him yelling. Can somebody send me that clip? Because I haven't seen that clip yet. I haven't seen the clip of him hollering. So, okay, what else we got here? Hold on. Come to bye week, I would clean house. Nick Caley, Nick Caserio, wide receivers coach and O-line coach should be fired. That's a lot of firing you want. Welcome to the show, Jarvis. That's a lot of firing, Jarvis. But if you fire everybody like that, then what is your contingency plan? If you fire Nick Caley, fire Nick Caserio, fire Ben McDaniels, fire Cole Popovich, what is your contingency plan? Who's filling those roles in those spots? Somebody got to fill them. And if you fill them, do you feel that if you fire 4 people, are you going to replace them with 4 competent individuals right now? Like, we're not far into the season, but we're in the season. So who are you going to get to be able to, like, you're going to go outside of the organization to get somebody? So they still have to get acclimated. This ain't training camp no more. Everybody's going, hey, this is a week-to-week job. So if you fire everybody, Jarvis, who's going to replace him? Scoop, welcome to the show. Jarvis out in the bye week is week 6, I think. Firing someone doesn't just pause the season and put us in the off season. We would literally have to fill more holes. Thank you. Exactly. Should have hired experienced guy like Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, or Eric Bieniemy. Now, I talked about Eric Bieniemy last week on the show. I like that. Doug Peterson, I like that too. Chip Kelly, never. I will never, ever endorse Chip Kelly for any job. I don't give a damn if that's working for Uber Eats, DoorDash, Amazon, Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace, the glass place, taco truck, Smoothie King, AT&T, Target, Walmart, Sonic, Burger King, McDonald's. None of that. I ain't recommending Chip Kelly to do nothing, because only thing Chip Kelly is great at is being a narcissist. That's it. He's a narcissistic individual. And if you ever get an opportunity to talk to people who have had interactions with Chip Kelly, you'll understand why. There's a lot of things that you would not like, or you might like, Jarvis. I don't know you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know you personally, so you may. Let me just say this: there's a lot of things that I know about Chip Kelly that I wouldn't endorse Chip Kelly to sell Girl Scout cookies, be a sacker at Kroger, work for Total Wines and Spirits, work baggage claim for Southwest. I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't give Chip Kelly a recommendation to work at Chipotle. Nah, hell no. Isn't Eric Bieniemy with the Bears right now? Is he? He could be with the Bears. He could be. I don't know where Eric Bieniemy is. I just know that I felt like, he could have been really good with the Houston Texans based off of his past. But we keeping it a buck, keeping it 100. And I've told you all this before. I'll tell you this again. Like Eric Bieniemy had an outstanding opportunity and chance. He had a great chance of being hired by the Houston Texans, and he messed it up. I'm not going to tell you what was said. I'm just going to tell you that word of advice. What's up, Super Tech, Sean Super Tech? Word of advice. Whenever you have anything that requires you to do an interview, and hell, I'm even talking about if you're single and you're trying to date, because that's an interview too. Anything that requires an interview style or interview type process, you have to be ready and prepared, and you got to be able to disassociate yourself with your regular everyday vernacular, your everyday tone, your everyday mannerisms, how you are when you in the hood, or when you with your family, or when you at church, or when you're at school, whatever your mannerisms are, when you're comfortable, you can't bring that into an interviewing process. Man, what's your address so I can send all my Saints gear? I'm done. Hey, you should. I told y'all that y'all head coach was horrible. I told you he only got that job because he looked good because he's with the Eagles. He used to be the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. I know he's terrible. But anything that requires an interview process, you've got to have an interview voice. You have got to have interview answers. You have to have responding questions. You have to be able to respond to the questions that they're asking you in a certain tone, in a certain manner, because the person that is interviewing you has something that you want, not you have something that they want, especially when there's a bunch of candidates, and especially when the job is, when there's a bunch of candidates and the job is a high quality job, because any job in the NFL can put you on the road to where you need to be. So Eric Bieniemy talked himself up out of a job. What's up, Queena? Hey, did you get my message about me not being able to see about not being able to see you all last week? I'm gonna make it up to y'all. What's up, Sarge? It's going to take a few days for emotions to calm down, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Wait, into what tunnel? Hey, sometimes when people say there's lights at the end of the tunnel, that's also because they're attached to a truck at night. I disagree. He just needs better protection and better play calling. Yeah, are you talking about CJ, right? If we lose next weekend, you think we could be like Miami? What is Miami having a fire sale? Miami is a dumpster fire. Miami is a dumpster fire. Hold on. Bieniemy was on that hush in the interview. Yes, he was. So he was laid back like he was talking to a homeboy and not, yeah, he wasn't doing what he should do. This this a 14-week tunnel, Sean. You optimistic as hell, my boy. Hey, look, I said sometimes the light at the end of a tunnel is attached to a truck. Tay said, or a train. Queena, is everybody quitting on my boys? Everybody ain't quitting on them, but there's got to be some type of solution. I'm scared for what Baltimore might do to us. Hey, I mean, maybe Kamara can score again for him. Said the light at the end of the tunnel is a train. What's up, Justin Singleton? So Queena says, right? With Joe, wait, hold on. Santos says, would Joe Mixon save us? No. Nope. And Santos, let me tell you this. Don't put all your hopes and dreams on Joe Mixon coming back to save you. And man, at least we got the Rockets. So Queena says, if you're a real Texans fan, we've been here before. So I'm not a Texans fan, and I know we talked about it earlier. You've been here before. That was 2018, Queen. 7 years ago. 7 years ago, they started out 0-3, and then they went on a 9-game winning streak. My question to you is, how much belief do you have that this Houston Texans team can win 9 games in a row? Hell, at this point, Queena, I don't even think that they can win 5 games in a row. Let's see who their next 5 opponents are. Let's look and see who the Houston Texans' next 5 opponents are. Oh crap, this thing got quiet. That means my wife done went to sleep. She wasn't happy today because the Packers lost and the Aces lost, and she losing in fantasy football. She not happy, y'all. She is not happy. What's going on? Why is taking this thing so long? Let me see what it got. All right, so here is the Texans' next 5 opponents. Because I'm not going to even talk about them. It's so bad, man. We should just forfeit every game, man. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to even talk about my battery about to die. I'm not going to even talk about winning 9 games in a row like they did in 2018. Let's just talk about the next 5 games. Titans, Ravens, Seahawks, 49ers, Broncos. That's the Texans' next 5 games. Titans, Ravens, Seahawks, 49ers, Broncos before they play the Jags again here in November. Titans, Ravens, Seahawks, 49ers, Broncos. Did you know the Broncos are saying the exact same thing the Texans are saying, right? Y'all know that, right? The Broncos are saying the exact same thing the Texans are saying. Like, we're almost there. We're right there. Last week, we watched the Broncos lose on a penalty call after the Colts had missed a 60-yard field goal. They got called for leverage, and the Colts kicker hit a 45-yard game-winning field goal, and the Colts lost. The Broncos lost. Today, the Broncos lost 23-20 to the Los Angeles Chargers. So in the last 2 games, they've lost by less than 5 points. So they're right there, and they got a really good defense. So you think you can beat them? You think you can beat the 49ers? I mean, if Brock Purdy is still out, you got an opportunity and a chance because you can go up against Mac Jones. But remember, Robert Saleh is the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Robert Saleh, who was DeMeco Ryans' defensive coordinator when he was with the 49ers. And what I mean by was like he was the defensive coordinator and DeMeco worked under him. And a lot of the schemes, defensive schemes that the Texans use came from the Robert Saleh system. So Robert Saleh definitely knows how to stop the Texans offense. So you think they're gonna beat the Broncos? You think they're gonna beat the 49ers? Anybody see what the Seahawks did to the Saints today? Before you even looked up, the score was 35-3 in the second quarter. 35-3 in the second quarter. You beating the Ravens? I just watched the Ravens beat the dog shit out of the Browns last week, who the Browns beat the Packers, who is one of the top 3 teams in the NFC and a top 5 team at the time in the NFL. And we know that the Texans don't have a good track record against the Ravens. And they're playing them in Baltimore. So, Queena, yeah, you've been here before. You ain't been here before against this next. Like, if they beat the Titans, right, and then they lose to the Ravens, going into the bye week, they could be 1-4. Then they got to play the Seahawks, 49ers, and the Broncos. They could potentially be 1-7 before they play the Jags again. Hey, DQ right there with you. DQ say he still got hope. School says, I'm just watching out of loyalty. No more hope to win. Queena says, man, I lost everything today. My pick'em, my fantasy, my team, my hubby team. It's only up from here. You're right, Derek. You're right. This week for the Astros won't be good for my mental health. Hey, who the Astros got? I know they just got swept by the Mariners. Who they got next? I'm gonna tell CJ on Wednesday because I doubt I see him on Monday. I'll probably see him on Wednesday. Yeah, I gotta see him on Wednesday because I think he's going. Yeah, he speaks to the media on Wednesday, so we'll definitely see him. I'm gonna tell him to make sure he wears the Astros hat this week so the Astros can win. Yeah, go Astros. And then because we're getting ready to come up on the start of the Rocket season, where Rockets hat. We're Dynamo, Rice, TSU, U of H, HCC, Lone Star, Montgomery County, Lone Star, North Harris. Did I say HCC already? Not HCC. Houston Christian, University of Phoenix Online, Houston campus. Sabercats, even though they're not here anymore. Jack Gates, Worthing, Katy, Madison, Bel Air, Sharpstown, Westbury. Yeah. Wear those hats, CJ. Yeah. I have a feeling this year we'll make a too late push and miss the playoffs. top 10 pick in sight. And the bad news is there's an offensive guard in Dane Bugler's top 50 draft prospect. Really? Hey, 119 doesn't. Are you serious? Wait, hold on. They ain't got no good offensive lineman coming out? Sheesh. Are you gonna leave it up to Nick Caley? I'll say it again. The Texans won't be whole until every remnant of the Patriots way is out of that building. Wait, Amanda. I mean Armando. Excuse me, Armando. I couldn't. It was blurry. Armando Johnson. Welcome to the show. Hey, the Ravens be giving away games. Oh wait, maybe the Texans beat them. Wishful thinking. Yeah, because I mean it's one thing to give away a game to Josh Allen. It's another thing to give away a game to. Sheesh. I don't really care what he wears as long as he plays better. Yeah. Okay, y'all. I got to get up out of here because I have to get up and go to the gym in the morning. Hold on, Scoop. Sorry, just please ask DeMeco a tough question. We all need answers to. Well, Scoop, what's the question you want me to ask? I ain't gonna leave here till Scoop gives me the question he wants me to ask. DeMeco was having some choice words with Kelly on the sideline. How come I haven't seen it? Can somebody please send me this clip? Hold on. Hey, you still talk with ND Kalu? Yeah, I just talked to ND last week. I ain't gonna tell you what we talked about. It was hilarious. But yeah, I talk to ND at least once or twice a week. Yeah. He doing good, man. You know, his son plays for Baylor. His other son is a senior, and he's playing football right now. I forgot. He's played for a private school. I can't think. His daughter plays volleyball. Yeah, so he's about to be an empty nester here pretty soon, which means he ain't gonna do nothing but work, and work more. But yeah, man, I talk to ND at least once or twice a week. Like that's why I used to tell people, like, I wasn't just on in the trenches on 790 because I was looking for exposure or because I wanted to be on the radio. No, it's because I got a chance to hang out with my friend 3 times a week. Like that's why I didn't care that I wasn't getting paid from the station. Now, some of the things that ND did for me behind the scenes to show, his gratitude and his appreciation to me, was something I will never ever discuss, in public. That's why I always laughing about, oh, you just up there for free. Yeah, I mean, I was up there to spend time with my friend, but you also don't know what my friend, helped me with some things on the back end. Y'all will never know that. But yeah, ND is not was. ND is my friend. That's why I don't get upset and laugh. I mean, I don't get well, I don't know when Mixon's coming back. But that's why I just laugh when people talk about, ND. I'm sorry, when you was up at 790 for free and we wasn't even paying you. You were just up there, just it's like, nah, I wasn't. I was hanging out talking sports with my friend. And we let the rest of Houston and the surrounding areas and the world hear our conversations, our genuine, true conversations. Indy and I never prepped for any of the shows that we were on. We just walk in there. He'd have talking points, this, that, and other, and I was just ready to talk, and we would talk. That was it. And that's why I miss that show sometime because no, I haven't got any word on Sting yet. We're going to find out. We're going to ask tomorrow. As long as as far as we know, he's day to day. So, yeah, I'm so ready for the Rocket season to start. I still have my shades on and blowing my harmonica off the Texans and Astros. Ask him what he was yelling at Kaylee for. I gotta see first, Queena. If I don't see it, I can't ask the question because I didn't see him. Can you ask Kaylee why he keeps taking players out after a good play? No, I'm good on that. I don't know who you are. Ruffling some feathers, maybe let Matt Burke call plays and become a CEO head coach that way he's more involved on the offense. Oh, okay. Lip reading was like you saying, speed it up. Those were the good days of radio. Yeah, man, I miss it sometimes. I wish Indy would come back. Yeah, the offense was moving and Caley slowed it down. Mixon gone fishing. Well, I really enjoy the trenches. Now these stations are firing people, even ESPN, Houston, Joel and Paul. Yeah, I seen that. Can Shingun play O-line? Taking guys out of the games for flags and some type of discipline is needed. Yeah. I'm pulling up for the Niners game. All right, Mike. Down home blues Sarge. Any good spots to grab some? Hey, y'all give Mike some recommendations for some Texans barbecue. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I don't some of these spots these people go to, I've never been to before. I can't, and I don't want to send you to a place that's gonna be super expensive. I don't know. Me and my wife just had Gabby's today. I like Gabby's barbecue. Some people do, some people don't, but it's Gabby's barbecue is amazing to me. Can DeMeco call offense? That's a good question. All right, I got to get up out of here, y'all, and my devices are about to die. Thank you, TikTok family. We'll talk soon. Ooh, hey man, level up to lead for the 3% more awards. Oh man, I got to figure out how to get that 2 points away from the next stage. Hey, Mike, I'm at Ed Big Sar Sports with a Z at the end on Twitter. Ed Big Sar Sports with a Z at the end. Hit me up. I'll have some barbecue recommendations for you. Just I'll make sure that I find some good barbecue recommendations for you, especially because you're from the Bay. And I've always had a great time in the Bay, man. I've always loved being in the Bay. I love visiting the Bay, bro. They don't do nothing but show me love in the Bay. Every time I go, I love being in the Bay. It's expensive, but I love it. Good luck on the season. I hope you guys can turn it around. Yeah, but hit me up, Mike. All right, y'all. I got to get up out of here. I'll see y'all on Monday. We'll talk in the happy hour about what DeMeco Ryans and the players say in the locker room and at the press conferences on Monday. Texas fans, it's gonna be all right, man. And if it ain't, whoop de doo. I'm out.